Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 30th. This is Gina Palma. Upcoming, we will have a decrease in thunderstorm activity after today and tomorrow with very hot and dry weather region-wide later this week through next week with holdovers likely from recent lightning. Also, a strong cold front will be moving into the northern areas this weekend with dry and gusty winds across Idaho and Wyoming, along with slightly cooler temperatures. Otherwise, fire danger will continue increasing pretty rapidly across the Great Basin with most areas above the 90th to 97th percentile by next week. A look at our impact map over the next few days. Again, isolated thunderstorms continue today over the eastern half of the region, but will be diminishing by Friday and Saturday, although we could see a couple of isolated storms in the far east. Smoke will continue to impact the northern areas of the region and even into parts of northern Nevada over the next couple of days due to the wildfire smoke from Oregon and our ongoing incidents. Otherwise, some breezy winds today in the far north and far southern and western areas, although most wind gusts will remain in the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. As we move into Saturday and that cold front drops into the north, we will see stronger winds, which will likely last a few days across northern areas. Precipitation over the last 24 hours, we saw scattered thunderstorms over the eastern half of the region. There were pockets of wetting rains of anywhere from a quarter of an inch to over an inch in some spots, but those were very localized. Otherwise, very dry conditions over the western half of the region. Over the last 7 days, any precipitation we have seen has been spotty with thunderstorm activity, and although it is showing above normal for the time of year, it was fairly localized and really not having a huge influence on our fire behavior, as we are still seeing larger fires with even some extreme fire behavior popping up even in areas that we have seen wetting rains. Yesterday, we had 25 new fires reported for 649 acres and over 16,000 acres of growth on our large fires, which was mostly New Pass and Widemouth 2. Otherwise, Great Basin remains at PL3 and Nick at PL5. We continue to see light to moderate initial attack each day with thunderstorms. Looking at our morning satellite image, you can see plenty of smoke over the northern half of the region, certainly quite a bit thicker as you go further north, and that will be in the forecast for some time. Otherwise, you can see the smoke impacts today. Again, not really much change in the coming days. And looking at our current fire danger conditions up in the north in the Payette, where the Tartar fire is there and the lower elevations on the west side, ERCs are near average but trending upwards. And even in southern areas where our ERCs are still on the lower side, kind of below the 80th percentile near Widemouth 2, we are still seeing extreme fire behavior. So that's pretty surprising with some of the moisture we've seen. But you can see with the forecast of hot and dry conditions, ERCs will return to above the 90th percentile, really across all of the Great Basin. Looking at our weather pattern the next few days, we have strong high pressure that's extending from west to east across southern areas of the Great Basin. And this high pressure will start to build north. However, we do have an incoming trough of low pressure, which will push that strong cold front across the north as we go through the weekend. Otherwise, temperatures will continue to climb in the meantime with very dry relative humidities dropping into the single digits in many areas. We do have high risk for wind across central Idaho starting Saturday, and this threat will move east through the Sunday, Monday time period. Otherwise, all areas return to moderate risk. Looking at the details, the wind fields both today and tomorrow, generally just gusty outflow winds as indicated by some of these stronger signatures, but we will have some breezy southwest winds in parts of central Idaho with, again, those gusts mainly in the 20s, and also along the Sierra front and in parts of southern areas. These winds drop off a bit on Friday, but will start to increase in the north as that front approaches on Saturday. Relative humidity, again, single digits, which will become almost region-wide by Saturday with just really bone-dry conditions across the region. Precipitation will dwindle as we lose this thunderstorm activity and we see the drier conditions, and temperatures continue to increase with highs near record levels as we move into the weekend with highs over 100 degrees in all valley locations prior to that cold front. Looking at Sunday through Tuesday, the area of low pressure and the cold front continues to drift east and push a little further south into northern Utah and northern Nevada. So we will see some slight cooling a little bit further south, but otherwise still very dry conditions until we maybe get towards the middle of next week. We could see some moisture start to push its way north into southern areas, but probably more mid to late next week. And our main concerns initially will be the thunderstorms returning after the hot, dry period, since all areas are in that moderate risk. So we'll have to watch that lightning. But in the meantime, the stronger winds with the cold front will sweep across the north as we go through Sunday and Monday. So we do have high risk there. We'll have to watch some areas further south into Nevada and Utah, as winds could be picking up a bit as well. And with our drying conditions and our ongoing fire activity, we'll have to monitor that. You can see the wind field here on Sunday, still gusty in the north, but possibly that Monday timeframe pushing into Nevada, and even into southern Nevada on Tuesday. So we'll kind of have to watch these winds further south. Otherwise, single-digit relative humidity continues through the early part of next week. And you can see really no chance for thunderstorms. I did indicate that cold front pushing through in the north Sunday and dropping south and becoming almost stationary on Monday. But we will see the greatest degree of cooling across Idaho and Wyoming, which we could see about 10 to 12 degrees or more of cooling. So those 100-degree temperatures will drop into the upper 80s. Otherwise, more minor impacts with temperatures. Sunday still above 100 degrees across much of Nevada and Utah, and then could drop just below 100 as we get into early next week. Just a quick look at the last 7 days of lightning. This will become something to keep in mind as we get into these very dry and hot conditions over the next week. We could definitely see some holdovers pop up from the significant amount of lightning we've seen. Then a quick recap of our 7-day, a gradual return to moderate risk across all areas, with high risk in the north Saturday through Monday for the strong winds or gusty winds and dry conditions associated with the cold front. And then we will have to watch these southern areas as we get towards the middle of next week for any return of lightning. The 6 to 10 day outlook, taking us from August 4th through the 8th, shows still very hot temperatures and very dry conditions in the north, but possibly some moisture returning to the south. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.